Hey guys, welcome to the channel, and if you haven't been here before, please consider to like and subscribe, and let's do this thing. So guys, from the description of the video you can see I've upgraded from the Spark to the Mavic Air 2 and my thoughts behind it and why I actually did it. And I did not get the fly more combo, I just bought the standard box or the standard drone offering, and my thoughts behind actually doing that, I'll cover that in this video as well. So let's start with the Spark. Actually I bought it last year and I didn't have it for very long. Very good drone, very good starter drone. And it actually got me into droning. So in other words, it's a very good drone to start off with, fly with, and just to experience and see what you're actually going to get out of drones and the type of footage you're going to actually use for it. But doing that, I actually found a couple of errors or a couple of things I didn't like about the drone. Number one, it's obviously very light. Number two, the battery life is only 10 minutes if you're lucky. So once or twice I went out. Luckily I had 3 batteries. Put the drone down on the ground, wanted to start it up, then I wanted to do calibrations, everything you need to do the calibrations. By the time that's finished, you got 2 minutes of flight time left. So out with that battery, new battery in, fly, get your shots. You got to think very carefully about the shots you want to take. There's no time to waste flying around and just randomly taking shots and then putting it together afterwards. It's also very susceptible to wind conditions. So in other words, you can go out on your mountain bike ride or whatever you want to do. By the time you get there, the wind can be blowing, gusting or whatever. It's not conditions to fly that drone in. So you basically have to just tank it for the day and then come back again and do it again a bit later. So then I started looking into this, what else I can replace the Spark with. So having a look around, my options were the Mini, because the Mini 2 wasn't out at the moment, or out at that stage, and the Mavic Air 2. And one thing I did find about the Spark was, in that race, that Sunnylife race, the video you can have a look at, I filmed 1 or 2 drone shots there, and I actually had problems with signal strength. It lost signal quite a few times, and that is in nowhere. In other words, it's out in the bushes somewhere, there's no houses, no signals, nothing over there, but for some reason the Wi-Fi signal kept on dropping and I had lots of problems with signal and losing signal in that, and that's not even 10 meters away from you. That led me into some investigation, and then I found the Mavic Air 2. It's obviously a bigger drone, heavier drone, so it'll be able to handle the wind a lot better. And in my country, I'm not worried about the weight restrictions, because in South Africa we can fly a drone up to 7 kilograms without as a privateer. So that's not a problem. I don't have the problem with that Mini 2 type weight restriction. So the Mavic Air 2 was obviously a choice, and one of the main things was the OcuSync. Different type of signaling, no more Wi-Fi, better signaling, better strength, and yes, it has better cameras, filming quality, 4K, all that type of stuff. But that actually wasn't that important to me, because I do YouTube stuff, and 1080p is actually enough for YouTube, although I have been filming in 4K. But one thing about 4K is obviously the file size is a lot bigger, and a nice thing about the Mavic Air is also you can film in different formats. So with the Spark you can only film it basically in its standard. It does the coloring for you. On the Mavic Air you can film in different settings so that you can do color correction. I'm not expert in that. In fact, I've only just started doing some color correction and playing with LUTs and things like that. So it's just another step into the actual evolution of the hobby, so to speak. So my next consideration was the fly more combo or the standard box. Now obviously if you do the maths behind it, the fly more combo is definitely a winner. But from a budgetary point of view, I looked at it, and although I could have stretched it to it, I had a look at the package, and there are a few things with the Spark that I had that I never used. For example, the bag, never used it. Those ND filters that come with the Mavic Air 2, they're the wrong settings for me, and at this point I'm not even using ND filters. So there were a couple of things in the boxes or in the fly mode combo that I wouldn't use or not use now. And the main thing in the fly mode combo are the batteries. So yes, if you just add the two batteries together, it probably is cheaper just to buy that than to buy the standard actual box. But as I had the budget for this box, I decided to go for it, buy my own case later as I have the budget, and to buy batteries as required. And just another statement on the batteries. When you get the Mavic Air 2, you got a half an hour flight time, and coming from the Spark, which you've only got 10 minutes or a little bit less than 10 minutes, it is a huge difference. So when I'm flying the Mavic Air, I'm flying around, and eventually I find myself coming back to home and I'm not even nearly near the battery's ended, because you're so used to using that 10 minutes battery only. So when you get this unit from the Mavic Air, or any unit that's got only like it's a 10-minute battery span, you will not regret it. In other words, one battery was more than enough for me for quite a while, and I've only now recently bought another battery as a spare battery, but it wasn't really a requirement yet either. So the increased flight time is definitely a big bonus. So this is not an unboxing video because I've had this drone for quite a while already. So let me show you what I have bought in the meantime. So in the meantime, I bought this case over here, which is going to, I'll just get a better angle on that. So as mentioned earlier, I didn't like the bag that the actual Flymore combo comes with, so I opted to get this bag instead, to which I'll leave the link in the description below. It's not a hard plastic bag. It is quite tough, but it's not hard, and it's water resistant, not waterproof, I would say. It's almost like a material type surface there. On the inside you got a area here. All the zips work very nicely. You can put some additional cables and stuff like that up there. You can put additional propellers and that on this divider over here. And on the bottom side over here is where you can, as you can see, this is one of my extra batteries I bought. You can put two batteries there and there. Underneath you can put your charger there. The battery goes on top. The remote goes here. Underneath the remote you can put additional, can't remember what it's called, that comes with the Flymore combo. That power adapter, I think it is, goes in there. And then your drone goes over there. As you can see, everything has its own individual compartment, which helps to keep everything nice and tight and safe, as opposed to the one that comes with the Flymore, which is just those dividers, and I don't know how actual safe the stuff is kept in that. If you look at the drone itself, one thing I love about this drone compared to the Spark is the way it folds up and everything goes nice and neatly in here. As you can see, I bought these additional propeller guards here. I don't know if they actually really need it, but I got those. And then obviously the drone just folds out, the legs fold out. So the actual form factor is smaller than the Spark when it's folded down, and much bigger when it's actually out. Another thing I did notice about this drone is it's actually, I wouldn't say a lot quieter than the Spark, but it definitely is quieter than the Spark. And the reason for it being quieter is the Spark has a very high pitch. So in other words, that swarm of bees or whatever that you're hearing there is a very high pitch, whereas this is a much lower pitch. So if you had to do a dB test on the two, I don't know if you'd, I think this would definitely be a little bit less, but from a perspective of a person standing on the side listening to it, this is definitely a lot softer. So that's the bag. I won't put those on now. Closes down, holds with everything nice and safely. So guys, that's what I'm using at the moment. I find I just take this, put it in a backpack, and then I can cycle with it to wherever I'm going, take it out and fly. But I'm also looking for another backpack that I can use to just basically hold the drone stuff and that in. So maybe if you've got any suggestions, you can leave it in the comments below. I'll appreciate that. What you suggest as a backpack. I know Low Pro makes a couple of them. I've been looking at them. So yeah, let me know what you've used, what works best for you guys to transport the drone, especially when you're cycling or moving around quite a bit. So guys, that's my thinking behind getting the actual single unit as opposed to the fly more. It was basically based on budget. I didn't like one or two things that came with the fly more combo and thought I'd just upgrade as I go and as I require the additional components. And then obviously the battery coming from the Spark to the Mavic Air is a huge time that you actually get with it. It's actually quite amazing. So guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.